How do you engage a virtual team? Welcome to the channel that is all about helping busy leaders and educators increase connection and engagement in their own teams. In this video, not only am I going to share how, I'm going to actually facilitate an activity called Inspiring Intentions in a way that you can either watch and learn the activity to see how I would facilitate it, or even just jump to this timestamp and play the video from there and actually have me facilitate this exercise with your group. So I get to work with some of the top universities and organizations on the planet, leading workshops and virtual keynotes on how to make connection and engagement easy. And so having done this a lot, I have a certain way that I facilitate certain phrases, things that I know tend to work. And so feel free to steal them and repeat them yourselves. And also feel free to just jump to this video, screen share. Part of the reason that I'm creating actually a series of 4 of these videos. So this is one out of a total of a series of 4 where I facilitate 4 different exercises, which I call green cards. Actually, NASA calls them green cards. And in NASA training simulations, NASA infuses what they call green cards, which is basically a random event that changes the game. So astronauts could be in a simulation, they throw a green card and say, hey, there's a fire in the East Bay, you have to go deal with it. And so it changes the name of the game. And so when you're talking about how to engage a virtual team, green cards is an awesome concept, something to mix it up, because what is really disengaging is the same monotonous activity, right? It's the same thing over and over again. It's click the same link, join the same meeting, show up with the same people, have the same small talk, right? Like that is very disengaging. And so throwing a green card, infusing a disruption like this exercise or this video is going to be a really great way to increase engagement in your virtual team. This particular activity, Inspiring Intentions, is really good for the beginning of a meeting or the start of a new season or a project or a class because it allows people to get really zoomed into what their intentions are. All right, enough setup. Let's get into it. One quick thing to note. As I lead this activity, the activity comes from and is embedded in and utilizes a deck of cards called We Engage cards. Now you can get this deck and actually use it with your group, you could do it with just you having a deck or everybody in your team or group having a deck, which is kind of cool because when a virtual team all has the same item, there's something really connecting, right? So if I were to say to a group, everybody hold up this card, right? They would be able to do that, and there's something connecting about that happening. However, you can also access a digital version of the deck totally for free at the link below, weand.me/free. And you can send that link out to your team for this activity. All right, here we go. This is the point where you can just start playing with your group if you want me to facilitate the activity for you. Hey y'all, good to be in cyberspace with you via video. My name is Chad Littlefield, and I'm coming in to hopefully spark a little bit of disruption into your normal team class meeting flow. And so what I'd love to do is tune into what our intention is for this time. The word intention comes from the Latin root meaning to stretch or stretching. And I really love that because I think that really great intentions stretch over the needs of everybody on your team, in your group, to pull people together. And so what we're gonna do is an exercise called Inspiring Intentions. If you have this deck lying somewhere around, now's a good time to grab it. If you don't access it digitally through the link sent through the chat or somewhere else or in the email beforehand, and what I'm going to invite you to do is right now, take a minute to choose a card that represents an intention you have for today. Choose an intention that you have for your time here today. And so that could be a quote, one of the quotes on the cards, or one of the images, right? So I might choose to say, my intention today is to really lean on the support and help of my colleagues because I'm taking way too much on myself. And so I'm going to be asking for your support and help throughout this meeting as we map out this future project. Right? You see how that ties into the image. Your intention could also tie to the quote. So if you chose this quote, for example, you might say, my intention is to see all the challenges and roadblocks and obstacles and annoyances and frustrations which we might bump up against in this conversation and see them as potential gifts and how to warp and adapt them. And so to just have that positive lens, because typically I see them as a roadblock and I just stop. And so my intention is to see possibility rather than see closed doors. Do you see the magic that can happen when you get really clear about your intention and you share it with others? Because oftentimes we have intentions that affect other people, but very rarely do we share them with the people they affect. And so you know in your own context, if you're watching this video, whether it's better to choose an intention for a single meeting that's happening right now, or to choose an intention that's a little bit bigger. Like what's the intention for this quarter or this semester, for example. So right now, if you're watching this live, go ahead and pause the video and take 60 seconds to go find either a quote or image that represents an intention that you have that you'd like to kick out to the group. Beautiful. Welcome back. Hopefully you've got your quote or image. If you have something in hand, go ahead and hold it up to the camera now, whatever that is. So if you've got an image, go ahead and hold it up to the camera so that everybody can see, and just look around in gallery view or however else you can see everybody doing this. And next, what I'd love to do, depending on your group size, either would love to popcorn out and invite folks to share intentions, or if you're a bigger crew, let's break it up. So the actual instructions for inspiring intentions in the card deck is to split out into groups of 3 to 5 people to A, share intentions, and B, talk about aligning those intentions. So if you can take those 3 to 5 different intentions and come up with one overarching intention for your group. And then when you come back from breakouts, go ahead and share out that larger intention, that larger idea. All right, hopefully those discussions were really useful. There's magic when we share our intention. All of a sudden we start meeting for purpose rather than for time. Typically we get in this kind of rut of meeting for time rather than for purpose. And so hopefully by sharing your intentions, you've been able to connect a little bit to your individual intentions and an overarching group purpose. All right, if you're watching this video solo just to learn how to do the activity, best of luck. Have an awesome time doing this with your group. It's amazing how something so subtle and small can increase engagement. I would say that getting really clear about your intention and sharing it with the group is one of the core ingredients to increasing engagement in a virtual team. If you're watching this as a group live, it was super good hanging out in cyberspace. If you don't already have the free digital deck, feel free to jump over to www.weand.me/free. And there's a free copy of that deck and a handful of other resources for you to download and use with your own groups, in your own meetings, in your own time. You'll love, so this is one video in a series of 4 videos where I kind of unpack 3 other activities that you can do to increase engagement in a virtual team. And so if you like this video, check out either the video on panic picture or quick quotes right here. Have an awesome day.